Welcome to Women of Wisdom, everyone. Today, we're lucky enough to have a self-published author who I admire. I met through a girlfriend of mine, and she's the author of What Cheerle- the Cheerleader and What God Has Taught Me. And it's a fascinating book. I'm in the middle of it, and it's a fascinating book. And it's basically her wisdom about dating. What, what, do you, what do you say? Kathleen, would you say that, Kathleen? I didn't know how to describe this book. You've got Mr. Shy Guy, you've got the artist, you've got the best friend's brother, you've got everyone involved in this book, and so that's what we're here to talk about today. And she's also the owner of Maya Yoga in Kansas City. So welcome, Kathleen.
Thank you, Win. I appreciate you having me on your show. I'm really proud of you.
And my first question is, what is your favorite spot to write in? What gets your creative juices flowing?
My spot isn't super exciting, but it is in my office. I have a home office that my husband painted for me, painted it a light gold because I do have a yoga studio, so I like the colors of India. And I have tapestries of two of the Hindu goddesses, Saraswati, who is the goddess of the arts and the intellect, and I consider writing. And then across from her, I have the goddess Lakshmi, you can see behind me, and she is the goddess of abundance. So I call them my sister goddesses. And then behind me, I have an altar of everyone that inspires me, Jesus, angels, Buddha, Shiva, everyone. So I feel really comfortable and inspired when I can just be alone here in my
Well, that's a
office.
beautiful painting behind you. I was going, before we got online, I was going to mention something on the show of that beautiful painting. And I don't know if my viewers can see that beautiful painting, but that beautiful painting mesmerized me as we were doing our pre-show interview. So I am just fascinated that you use that beautiful painting as your inspirations.
I do, and I chant to them both. I ask them for creative inspiration, and I think it really helped because as a writer you can get blocked, and we can.
Oh yes, you did. Oh yes, you did.
And maybe even more than blocked, procrastinate is probably my bigger challenge when I was writing The Cheerleader Speaks because I knew I was supposed to write it. I felt like God had planted the seed of this book. It's called The Cheerleader Speaks, What God Taught Me About Men and Myself. And it's a 30-year funny and hopefully inspiring memoir of all my dating disasters from the third grade
Yes, yes,
until
yes.
I finally met my husband in a yoga class
Oh
at the age
jeez.
of 39.
Oh boy. Well, that leads me to my next thing. People don't, people will understand this when they read your book. You have all these terrific quotes at the beginning of your book, and the one I am most fascinated with is the one by Miss Piggy. And that is the most fascinating thing. You will never find Miss Piggy in a 30-year legacy of dating. And you would never find Miss Piggy. And so that's my favorite quote. What is your favorite quote in
Well,
your book?
I'll just share with your readers. I'm a huge Miss Piggy fan. I love her. I don't know why. As a child,
I don't know why either. I'm the Muppets generation too, Kathleen. So I don't know why either.
I don't know if as a child I just admired her sass and confidence because I didn't feel
Yeah.
like I had it, but I'm a huge fan. So this is from Miss Piggy in a chapter when my high school boyfriend slept with my best friend.
Oh, lovely.
It's all supposed to
Oh, lovely.
it's all supposed to
Yeah,
be lighthearted, and you know what I learned from it. But Miss Piggy says, "Only time can heal a broken heart, just as only time can heal his broken arms and legs."
yeah,
So
yeah,
it's not the
actually.
most yoga quote in my book. It's
No,
probably
actually, you knocked him out, probably, because he did what you can imagine was your best friend.
yeah. Miss Piggy would have retaliated. I think I was too shy
Yes,
to really
yes,
even
yes.
at him.
Um,
But I do have another favorite. Miss Piggy is truly my favorite. I have a few favorites. I actually keep a quote document on my desktop, just as you know, as you read them in articles or on Facebook, and I copy and paste them and stick them in, and I just kind of hang on to them for inspiration. But one of my favorite quotes is from Marianne Williamson, whose her books have really taught me a lot about relationship, except especially her book A Return to Love, which is based on the Course in Miracles. And so this is a quote from her at the beginning of my book. Looking for Mr. Right leads to desperation because there is no Mr. Right. There is no Mr. Right because there is no Mr. Wrong. There is whoever is in front of us and the perfect lessons to be learned from that person.
that is beautiful.
Yeah,
That is beautiful. The way, the way that quote is presented. That's beautiful. And which leads me to my next question off Miss Piggy
okay.
tangent. Um, do you ever keep in touch with the guys you wrote about in your book, i.e., Mr. Shy Guy, who I loved, by the way?
Oh, really? You know, Mr. Shy Guy's wife actually just emailed me on Facebook, and she had adopted 3 kittens from an animal shelter that I volunteer at. So that's kind of synchronistic. They live in a different town, but
Well,
they came to
well,
Kansas City.
at least being guided in some direction of
Yeah,
this
I
book.
mean, so Mr. Shy Guy's wife emailed me, and you know, he was a doll. I was a year older, and this is like in 6th grade, so I was probably a foot taller. So he had just cause to be shy.
Yeah, probably. He had
He
just.
did. He did grow up to be a police officer, which is interesting because my yoga teacher husband now used to be a police officer for 10 years before I ever met him. So I thought that was kind of synchronistic. I
And
had
I have to ask you, which leads me to my next question. What has God and yoga taught you about writing this book and being a self-published author and finding the niche in self-publishing?
Well, yoga has just done wonders for me. I'm 45. I started yoga when I was 25. I feel like yoga really helped me to see myself as God saw me, sees me, and to really give me the self-esteem that I think I was lacking in my childhood, to help me honor myself and my divinity and my potential as a human and spiritual being. So yoga has just given me so many gifts. It quiets all the negative mind chatter, any negative self-esteem or doubt. And I really feel like through meditation and yoga that the book idea was given to me. I really can't write just to write. I have to feel like God's planted an idea, and then I'm just kind of writing whatever He wanted me to write. So the self-published route, I really only queried a few publishers and agents, not like 100. I can't even remember, maybe only 10. And I had a friend who self-published with Create Space and recommended it. And I was so green to the whole self-publishing. So I just kept reading online and reading. And I kind of have a defiant soul to begin with. And I worked for myself for a long time. So I felt like the self-published route was good for me because I know an editor or publisher could have me it could have changed the title, rewritten, so many things, and that would have been okay. And it could maybe they would
I
make it better.
definitely agree with you. I feel like self-publishing, even though it has its drawbacks, I feel like self-publishing is more freeing than working with a traditional publisher. Not to say that traditional publishers are not good, but we as self-publishers, I say we because I'm a self-publisher myself, and have more creative control over the stuff we produce, even though it has to be edited like a fine-tooth comb before
Right.
you stick it up on the line. I mean, it's so easy now, and I have seen so many unedited books, and it's not even funny. And so I feel like we have um, more control and more freedom when it comes to self-publishing.
Absolutely. I'm really happy, at least this first book, that I went that route. If it ever got picked up and they had suggestions, of course I would be open to it if I felt like it kept the integrity of what my message. My biggest message was to help single people find their life partner sooner rather than later, and to learn from the mistakes I made along the way, especially kind of dating the same type of person over and over and over again for like 30 years. I dated bad boys,
Yeah.
musicians, artists, and
Oh, gee.
it's Einstein's definition of insanity, and I kept getting the same result. It never worked out. And
Yeah.
so I finally, through the advice of a very wise friend, I always prayed about everything, but I think my ego was in charge of the dating area of my life, because my friend finally said, have you ever,
Enough's enough.
have you ever just prayed for the person God chose for you? And
Oh,
I
jeez.
really hadn't when I thought about it, because she ended up marrying somebody very different, like a Kansas farmer. It was something, she was living in Arizona and ended up moving back here, and she's like, I never would have put that on a wish list. That just somebody she had never dated was a farmer. So I thought, well, what I'm doing isn't working. So
Now,
I
now
really
that's a fabulous segue to my next question.
okay,
What
good.
do you hope in people reading this book? What do you hope to inspire them with?
Well, I
To
really
dive in with two left feet, or no, or just take it easy, and if they're religious, pray, and if they're Buddhist, do meditation on it. And
yes.
so, what do
Yeah.
you hope that people gain from your book? And what do you hope their inspiration is when they read your book?
Well, I've had readers tell me that it's really helped them to let go of their past type and to open up to somebody totally different. He may be shorter, he may be taller, married before, kids or no kids. Like we all have this wish list, and just to really chuck the list and to be open to a new person orchestrated by the heavens and not from our ego's mind. And I have had people tell me that has really helped them to change their dating patterns, to shift what they've always dated and open up to a new experience. In fact, I recently had a girl tell me after reading my book, she did that, and she met her fiance a month later, and she did say he is very different than anybody
Oh,
I've ever dated.
good.
So
Well,
exciting.
that's fabulous advice that people should possibly look for the opposite that attracts.
Yeah, I mean, you never know. My husband and I have a lot in common, which is huge. I had never really had that when I look back. Honestly, we're both yoga teachers. We do run our yoga studio together, which can be challenging too. So it's not all romantic roses when you work together
No,
every
no.
day. And he was vegan, which was huge to me. I've been vegan for 11 years, and I love animals. And I had 3 cats when I met him. I was like the crazy cat lady, and people, I'm sure, were like, "Who's gonna ever marry you with all those cats?"
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
He's wonderful to my cats, So I'm really grateful that we have so much in common and that we share a lot of passions.
And that being said, what is the best age bracket for your book?
Oh, for my book, you know, someone, a woman who's been writing books a lot longer than me feels like 20s, women in their 20s. But then I've had women in their 50s tell me they enjoyed it. You know, it's not a heavy read. It's a fun,
No,
fast read, and
no, I
you
read
know,
it
it's
sitting in a chair at somewhere. I've read it on the plane to Kona, and I just thought, okay, this is not a heavy read. We're not doing dating heavily. We're doing dating in a fun way, in a inspiring way.
good. Thank you. I mean, it is supposed to be self-help ish, but with a
Yes,
humor so that people won't put it down after page two. You know, I wanted
yeah,
to keep the reader engaged. I know I do make fun of myself and my dating blunders.
yes,
At the end, I always try to, at the end of each chapter, I share what I felt like God was trying to teach me with each dating experience, because everything was practice really that led me to helping me meet my husband at the end.
and that leads me to my next question. Where can people find out about your book, and where can people find out about your yoga studio, even though it's in Kansas City,
Sure.
for those viewers who are in Kansas City who want to get a hold of Kathleen's wisdom and have a little fun? Where can people get you and get a hold of you?
Well, my own website is Kathleen Kastner, KASTNER.com. And you can definitely buy my book on my own website. It's also on Amazon, and there is a Kindle version as well in paperback. And of course, Smashwords. I know you're a Smashwords
Yes.
person also, smashwords.com. And then my yoga studio is called Maya, Maya, yoga.com. And we're in downtown Kansas City, Missouri. We specialize in Ashtanga and Vinyasa yoga, and we do hold teacher trainings every year. We're going on a Mexico retreat in a month to Tulum, Mexico. And so we do fun things that people could come from all over the country. And I think that's about it. KathleenKastner.com, Amazon.com,
And
Smashwords.com.
just to let my viewers know, you don't need necessarily a Kindle device to read Kathleen's book. I mean, they do have free apps for the iPad and for the iPhone. That's how
Right.
I read the majority of my books is through the app. So all you would have to do is download a Kindle app or the iBook app, which comes automatically on these Apple devices, and get a copy of Kathleen's book either on Smashwords, which is the Apple iBooks iTunes version, or as she said, on Kindle, which is on hardback, which is on Amazon.
Exactly. You're much more savvy than I am. I know that when we formatted it for Smashwords, it was for the iPad, the Nook, the Kindle. There's so many now, but I'm pretty sure it's formatted for most e-readers on Smashwords as well. But that's great to know about the app.
Yeah, I prefer my apps in Kindle and in iBooks, but um, 9 times out of 10, Smashwords doesn't do a good job of you guys. So I would just recommend that you go download it on to Kindle and play with it that way, because then we're not having people buy it off Smashwords. We're having people buy it off Amazon, which is which you get more of the percentage of the sales than these third party sites.
Yes, and it's only 99 cents right now on the Kindle.
Well, congratulations on that.
Thank you.
So
And
it was lovely having you on, and I hope to do it again in the future in your next book.
Thank you so much, Wynn, and I just
Thank
loved
you.
you as well, hon.
Thank you.
Okay, take care.
Bye.
Bye, hon.